Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Treen, and every week I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things intuition. Through personal stories, experiences, and practices, offering energetic reflections to help you discover, connect, and fully realize how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hi everyone. I hope you're doing really well. And if you're not, I hope that you're giving yourself the space to take care of yourself. I took last week off from the podcast because it has been a very busy time in my business and in my life. And instead of forcing and pushing myself past my capacity like I used to do, I gave myself a break, which is always a bit challenging for me, but I have to treat myself the way I would want my clients and my loved ones to treat themselves. So that's what I did, and I'm proud of myself for not forcing it, because I don't know if a forced episode of a podcast would be that much fun to listen to. But this week, I'm so excited to share my first interview for Intuitive Seek with the fantastic Lana Tukuniu. Lana and I met in a weekly writing club that we both have taken part in for quite a while. She is very accomplished and talented in her work using many energy healing and bodywork modalities. And in addition to her healing work, she also owns her own holistic spa called the Reconnection Sanctuary. And she lives and works on the small island nation of Niue, which is in the South Pacific Islands. She has such a gorgeous spirit, and I was so happy to talk to her about all things intuition. She also shares an inspiring story of how she found her way back to the island of her ancestors and how she followed her intuition before it really made sense. Lana also hosts her own podcast, Letters From Lana, which are lovely and entertaining, bite-sized musings on well-being. So I hope that you enjoy my chat with Lana, and check out all the show notes to connect with her and follow her Instagram, the Maulu Spa. But she's just a joy to talk to, so I hope that you enjoy. All right, so welcome, Lana Tukuniu. I am incredibly grateful that you are spending your time with me and with the listeners of Intuitive Seek and sharing your incredibly valuable and beautiful expertise in all things intuition and more, which is what I'm very excited to hear about myself and for everybody else to hear about. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's so good to be here on this morning.
So good. And where are you calling in from?
So I'm actually in Sydney at the moment, just visiting my parents. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. That's the kind of the most beautiful thing about technology these days, is that I'm in Vancouver in Canada and you're in Sydney in Australia, and we're able to have a conversation. So it's remarkable. And it's tomorrow or yesterday, which is great. Which is one of my favorite things about the world and time zones. So Lana, I know I said your name, but if you wanted to let us know your name, and also I feel like if you have some middle names, I always like that from people. I feel like it kind of creates a nice energy if you feel comfortable. And then also your birthday, because I always like to know kind of our astrology signs.
Whakalofa lahiatu. So my name is Alana Tukuniu. I do have a middle name. It's Asalini, which is named after my grandmother on my father's side. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because it's actually something my middle name is only something I've settled with in the last 17 or 18 years. Growing up, I was actually teased about it, and it made me really uncomfortable. But now I actually really own that. And that, like, if I do a course and I do a certificate, it's actually, I was like, my middle name goes on that course. So it's actually interesting that you asked me to make sure to add in my middle name. So thank you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I feel like so many people can relate to that as well on how you reclaimed it. Oh, that's beautiful.
So, and I'm a Sagittarius. I was born in December. Yep. So Sagittarius, but with Scorpio moon and Scorpio rising. So, um, when I discovered that made sense on a lot of things that happened. And my mother is Australian and my father is Niuean. So just in case any Niueans are listening, I am from the villages of Tamagotonga and Avasele, just in case. So they know whereabouts in Niue I'm from. So yeah.
Oh, and I haven't been, but it is definitely on my list. It is, from my memory, about like a 5-hour plane ride from New Zealand, right?
About 3.5 hours.
In the Pacific Islands, so near Cook Islands and there.
Yes.
So not part of New Zealand. It is its own republic, but kind of works with New Zealand a little bit.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah. So we make all our own decisions, but we have that relationship with New Zealand. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I encourage anyone listening to Google it immediately because it just looks so beautiful, and one of those must places, at least to even look at pictures of. Yeah, I'm just thinking, it's so funny. Just a little sidebar. When I was reading about it, this was a while ago, and I showed my partner, I was like, maybe we should go here, just on our list, just as an idea, because this is beautiful. And when we were looking at it, I read about that every fall or spring, where there's a pot of whales come in every season, and it is just remarkable.
That's correct. So in this season now, so June until September-ish, sometimes October, that the whales come up with their calf, and sometimes they also come up to mate as well. So it's literally like they come up really close to land as well, and it's just literally you look out and there's the whales doing their whaley things, and you never get sick of it. I can tell you that. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Since you were a child, it's always been just magical.
So for me, it's the last 17 years. So you'll see how my story actually opens up.
Oh yes, well,
as we go through the interview.
The whales will bring us into. Tell me more. How did you end up in Niue, and where were you born?
So my story takes detours. So actually, I was born in New Zealand, but I grew up in Sydney until I was 24. So my dad, he was born in Niue. The family went to New Zealand, and then when he was old enough, he came to Australia in the 70s.
Okay.
Because that was his adventurous spirit.
Right.
And then he met my mum, so I was born in New Zealand. I was like, let's go try New Zealand. My mum's like, she was a little bit homesick, so I came back to Sydney. So I grew up in Sydney, which I'm always grateful for, to be honest, that I grew up, because it is multicultural, and being exposed to that from a young age, like, that was amazing. And just, I think that shaped my whole view as well. And also because the food in Sydney is freaking amazing, and I love food.
Always hear. Yes, because of the amazing multicultural population and community, and then with that Australian spin, it's like that's fantastic. Exactly it. Lots of dips and lots of bread and lots of good things. That's what I've read.
And that's it. And you get to choose. It's like, do we have Vietnamese today, or do we have Middle Eastern food, or do we have Thai? And it's amazing. And then you get the fusions, and it's like, oh, yes. So That's something I really love about Sydney, so much variety. But the thing is, I'd always felt disconnected in the city. I was like, there's something missing, and there's something more. And then I was just out walking one day with my dad, and I was like, we're talking, and I was like, I think it's time I went to Niue. And that's what happened. I was just like, I just pretty much set my vision on that. And it was like within 12 months, it was probably less than 12 months, I was on that plane off to Niue.
Wow. Was it a true hit? Like it came to you almost like it was a calling. It sounds like the way you describe it, like you were truly called.
And that's when I look back at it now, that's exactly what it was. It was a calling, and it was like and when I landed, it put all the pieces of my puzzle together. I was just like, okay, I found it now. I understand everything now. Because I had never actually been to Niue, would never been.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, this is so courageous. This is amazing. You grew up the whole time in Sydney, and then you made a split-second decision to go to where your father was born and grew up.
Yep, that's right. It was the calling. It really was the calling. And it's just like knowing what I know now, and it was just like, it was like the call. My heart heard it, and it's just like, I'm going. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. Amazing. And then you've been in Niue for about 16 years now, you said?
Yeah, about 17 years
17
now.
Years.
So yeah. So that's the thing. When I landed, that was it. I actually went on a one-way ticket because deep down I already knew I'd love it. I was just like, I'm going to take the risk. And I knew I'd love it. And I had enough money in my account that if it didn't work out, I could catch a plane back, but I didn't need it.
But you knew you wouldn't need it.
Yeah.
Talk about following your intuition. That is fantastic, especially in your early 20s when normally we are a little bit more cut off from it, from my experience speaking to other women. So that is so inspiring. Wow. Okay, we'll definitely get back to that. But what I really feel called to ask you as well is let the listeners know, because having that courageous spirit of following your intuition and just changing your life like that, that is a pretty remarkable trait. Were you like that as a child? Like, what were you like as a child?
So as a child, I was actually really, really, really shy. Like I was so shy.
Wow.
and introverted, and I still am introverted. But, I was so shy, and I really didn't enjoy meeting people. And, my mum is a major extrovert. So she would be going out, and it's like, no. I'm like, oh, like, I could be that kid hiding behind her skirt, sort of things. Like, no, I don't want to interact. Wow. I didn't want to be the center of attention. And, all throughout school, I just hide at the back, just do my thing quietly, and that's it. And I was empathic, and I can remember, moments in school. I remember in primary school, just one of the girls I used to sit with, because you sit two at a desk sort of thing back then. I don't know what it's like now.
I know.
But I remember she was struggling with one of the concepts. And, I felt really bad, and I felt really sorry for her. And it's just like, how can I help? And that's what we did for the session. I was just like, and I remember just trying to explain to her and break it down into pieces, for her to try and understand as well. So I remember just those sorts of things, and, that sort of empathic feeling back then. So it's actually, when I look back as a child and compare myself to now, it's actually amazing, the change. And even my mum, like, and if I was saying, hey, I'm going to meet you, Mary, for this interview, my mum's like, I can't believe you're the same girl. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, that sort of thing. Because I am still introverted. It just means I know the introversion, and I know I just need to recharge, and I'm sweet with that. But I can put myself out there now.
That resonates with me so much, because I'm very, very much the same, where that introversion in not the best light for me can make it quite isolating and not living my life out the way I'd like to. But like you, making sure that we recharge our energy and know about our empathic traits and take care of ourselves and prioritize ourselves and our energy. The introversion is not anything to hold anyone back. It's just, I find most of the things in the world have been created by extroverts. So it's a little bit harder for us to navigate. But I love that your mom is so shocked by it. But really, you just had to be in charge, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just stepping into my power. That's what it just came, on the journey. And it was just like those piecemeals put out for me. Hey,
Yeah.
we're going to train you like this and, preparing you like this. And it's just like, yeah, every time I look back at it, it's because I can look back at it now with, what I know now. And I was just like, oh, I see now. I see how you're preparing me for this, those little moments turning into today. So, yeah.
I love that even at such a young age, yes, it was your empathy and your empathic and intuitive soul, but you also became a teacher in that small moment where you decided, you acted on how much empathy you were feeling for the other student, and you navigated how to help her, and you started teaching her. And that is the confidence that takes is quite strong, I would think, for anyone actually, but for a child, especially if they are more introverted. So that kind of spark that really, I see that through line for you, just for the little bit that I know you as well. I see that kind of keeps going.
Yeah, actually, no, I've never looked at it that way until you said, and that's why I was just like, oh, it's just actually another ping in my own. I was like, actually, wow, yeah, thank you.
Oh, I love that. Well, it's so hard for us to see our gifts when they feel so natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm glad I was able to reflect that back to you because, yeah, I just think that is, I don't know, that really lit me up when I heard you tell that story, because that's what we need. We need those children in school. It's so important. So,
yeah, and I think the other thing when I think about it as well, that empathy was also nurtured by my parents. Because there were days I'd go home and there's this random person in our house, and I'd go ask
the extrovert is inviting people over, just popping in.
It's just like, but my mom is also, and my mom and dad actually are very caring people, and and it'd be someone who is on the margins of society, and I'd go ask dad, and I'd be like, "Who's that?" And it's like, "Oh, you know what your mother's like, and they needed help, and they came to mom." And I was just, and I think, actually seeing that as well, that also nurtured my own, empathic feeling as well, because I was actually right in the middle of that and getting to see that. And she also had random people come over as friends and stuff. But that's how I remember, those mum and dad helping people. And I just grown up with that as well.
Oh, so lovely. Oh. Do you remember kind of what your intuition was like as a child? Like, do you remember feeling it at all?
I can remember sometimes things not feeling quite right. Like, and I didn't know what it was. I was just like, oh, that doesn't feel right. And if I look back now, when I think about this, it's like it was getting the drop downs, or some people call them downloads, like the drop downs, that voice, saying, oh, don't go here today. And I can still remember in high school, and you have to do physical education. It's compulsory. You have to.
It is the whole way through?
Up until, I think it's up until Form 4 or 5.
So you get a few years where you don't have to.
Yeah, the last 2 years of high school, you don't have to.
Okay, same in Canada as well. That's where only allowed to opt out the last two. And
the last two.
I was just looking for that my whole life. It was just
and same here. I couldn't wait, and I loved movement. Like, I loved sports outside of a PE class. I really loved it, but I didn't love movement in a class situation where you go through modules. And at that time, we had to do running, and back then, I hated running. I hated it. And I was like, it was a 3K run, and and then we're doing it, and then these other kids were like, "There's a shortcut, go here." And so that's what everyone did then. As soon as we found out, and I took it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to take it," and I did. Then the next week, it's running again, and I was like, I still remember that voice in my head going, "Do not take that shortcut this week." And I didn't. And I went the whole way. And even though I was cursing myself the whole way, that intuition kicked in because that teacher was waiting at the end of that shortcut, and everyone got put on detention who took that shortcut, and I've never forgotten it.
Wow, except for you.
That's it. Just because the intuition is like, just don't, don't take that shortcut today. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't know what intuition was back then, and even back then, it's not as accepted, as it is today.
Yeah, there was nothing I had ever really heard about when I was young either. Completely.
Yeah, that's it. So it's just, and I didn't tell anyone. I got a voice in my head that said, "Don't go today." I was just like, "Yeah, okay, that was lucky." And I was just counting my blessings after. I was just like, "Thank you." Like,
such an important lesson, even though it was from so long ago. I mean, I'm sure you have many, many since then, but that is the hardest thing to do, is to listen to it, to actually follow it. Because how many of those other children did get that and did hear it, and they said, "No, I don't want to run the 3K." It's like, I don't care if I'm not supposed to. I'm going to do it. And then the teacher was there, but you really listened to it. And I think that just helps to like hit home how important the action on our intuition is, not only listening to it. And I love that reminder.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly what you said. You just nailed it. How honoring that intuition.
Yeah, so a little pat on your back, I would say.
Yeah.
It's so that kind of goes with our intuition, how it speaks to us. And you were saying, like, from part of it is you would hear it as an inner voice. Was there any other way that you found that your intuition spoke to you that you can remember as a child?
And I think also the feeling in my body, that's a thing that I remember. Those two were the big things as a child. But as I've gotten older, I've opened up the ways it drops down. I've opened it up. So, so like things like journaling, that sort of thing, my yoga practice, practicing with oracle cards, and also in my sessions and also in my own meditations, I'm highly visual. Mm-hmm. So it's like moving into that space, but I find it's like the drop down will happen first. Usually it's like the voice is like, "Hey, check this." It's like, okay. And then it's leaning into it more. And then usually the visuals just like happen after that.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think just connecting in with my tupuna, with my ancestors as well, that's just...
Just as soon as you said is with the ancestors, it just felt like you lit up really fast. So that feels like maybe that is your intuition, your ancestors are maybe not even separate from your guidance. It feels like, I don't know if that, not to put words in your mouth, but it just really, I felt that so strongly when you were speaking.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. That's exactly. And for me, that, it was 17 years ago landing on Niue. That was the day I connected in, and I didn't know it then, but that was the day I connected in, and that growth of connecting in with my ancestors has been the opening of actually my whole world, sort of thing.
And would you say, like, before you landed in Niue, that you weren't as aware of it, or did you have a little bit, like some breadcrumbs, or?
I think I had little breadcrumbs, because obviously Dad's Niuean, and there's little things that would go to family. Like, sometimes we would go to New Zealand for family functions or weddings and other things. And I got to see little things in there, but I still didn't have the understanding. It still wasn't landing, And I was like, okay. Yeah, so those breadcrumbs, but I wasn't picking up those breadcrumbs. It's only when I look back now and it's like, oh, okay. And, the breadcrumbs, the biggest breadcrumb, and it was more like a cake, was when I was walking with my dad, and it was like, hey,
yes,
time to go to Niue. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah. Thank you for speaking on that, because I really feel, especially now where intuition and developing our intuition is a little bit more in the mainstream. And so people are really talking about ancestors more. And I know that, especially in, I would say in Canada, that some people know about their ancestors and some people don't. And I do have some clients that want to, but they feel discouraged where they say, oh, I don't have a culture. I don't even know my grandparent. Like, I don't know. And I do always guide them to, well, just keep it open. Don't say never. And I think that your story just really inspires that, where the timing may just not be on your time. Like everybody, if they're open to it, I think that we all can connect to our lineage and that wisdom that comes with it as well.
I think definitely what you're saying about, keep open. It's so true, because once you keep open, these things start to lay down. And like you said, when you're ready, it lands.
And it lands.
And it's just almost like preparing you, it's like they're just preparing you with the little things. And it's just like, okay, she's ready now. Now it's time to drop the big piece of cake,
Yes.
And so, yeah. And it still happens now. Like, it was like the big piece of cake was me going back to Niue. And then, then there's more breadcrumbs. And it's like, okay, we're going to give you a whole piece of cake, like a whole cake now, it's like, you're ready for this now. And it really does happen in its own time. And there were times I was like frustrated. I was just like, how come I didn't know this before? How come you didn't tell me before? And it was literally like, you weren't ready then. You weren't ready. And it's only when I've moved on a bit, I was like, oh man, I was so not ready for that information back then. So, that divine timing, that timing, your ancestors really have your back, and they really know how to do it. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I hear that so strongly. Yes, I think that will help a lot of people out there for sure, just to listen to that. So speaking to, we did kind of go over it, because if your intuition, the way that it spoke to you as a child, it sounds like it is very similar to today, but maybe a little bit more amplified. But do you find that your intuition does speak to you today as it was as a child, or is it a little bit different?
I think the thing that's changed is me trusting. And it's like, that's what's changed the most. It's like, that feeling is like, okay, lean into that feeling, because there's a reason. And that's what's changed, is trusting.
Oh, that's such a great answer.
Yeah.
Perfect answer.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And actually, also knowing that I have the support of my tupuna, that also helped with my trust. It was like, hey, we've got your back. And then practicing the trust, and then just going back and forth on that, and really practicing the trust, and practicing, I know I've got the support. Because there's been times where, there's times, even being in sessions, I remember going, something will drop down. I'm like, really? Because it might have been a really big thing. And it's just like, oh, are you sure? Because I don't want to get this wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just trust us. I was like, okay. And then we've talked about it. And that issue that came up was bullseye. And I was just, and I always give thanks. I was just like, thank you. Thank you. And then also thank you to myself for trusting myself as well, because I had to go the extra step. So yeah, it's just remembering it's practice. It really is.
Wow. Yeah. I speak about that all the time, because it's something that I am constantly working through as well. Every day, where it is millions of little lessons of trust throughout my whole life, and then especially in my work constantly. So to realize that, just like you said, that trust is a practice, because so many people, not to truly generalize, but from my experience and speaking to others as well, that intuition, utilizing it as our own teacher, as our greatest teacher, the only way we can do that is by trusting it. And it can feel very exhausting. That trust doesn't come right away. And then we tend to abandon it and look outside of ourselves for that affirmation and all the things that kind of takes us away from it. But to remember that it's a practice is so, so helpful, I find. So thank you for reminding us about that.
Yeah, I'm glad. I think that we both can share with that, because there are a lot of people, like you said, they just, it's on the margins, like, oh, well, what's
Yes.
the point? But they've had moments, and yeah.
Yeah, where those moments, they're important just to remember. We can minimize the things that are actually the most valuable to us because we don't trust it. So it's that reminder to trust is so I'm just feeling that very strongly as you were speaking. Not that I speak for everyone, but I tend to, it's nice to tune in to the collective and be like, all right, it's not just me. This is great.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I feel like we have let the listeners wait with bated breath long enough because every time you speak about your sessions or your work, I can feel the excitement in me, at least, really wanting to know more. So please, if you are able to kind of let us know what your work is or what you feel your calling is, because I know that you do some very special and unique things on your side of the world.
So my work is walking side by side with women to reconnect themselves back to their own center, so that they can confidently step into their power and really own who they are and what they do. So it's largely through a program called We Know the Way, which is based on a song about Pacific navigation. But it's a journey about navigating to your most powerful center of being and self through the connecting in, the clearing, and creating the clarity. And that's through the work of like working through your ancestral lines, through the light energy of like Reiki, and through creating mind space. So I do that just so anytime I'm working with somebody, I bring all the tools in that I have, which is yoga and meditation, Romi Romi, which is Maori healing, Reiki, the tools of kinesiology, creativity, journaling, movement, my own experiences, and also my tupuna, my ancestors come into every session. So in a nutshell, it's like I'm working with all the tools that have helped me come from that shy child into the woman that I am now, who's comfortable with visibility and standing up, really taking the client from that space, from a space where, they feel like they're hiding, or they feel like they need to shift some energy to step into their own power.
Yeah.
And I know that and the thing is with our work, it's what worked for us may not work for somebody else.
That's right.
But I also have seen like how the person's own tupuna, we meet for a reason. It's like there's a meeting that we don't see between my tupuna and your tupuna, and they're meeting and saying, hey, you guys are gonna meet and see how we can create little shifts on what needs to be shifted. And I think the start, it may feel like I had an elevator spiel, but it's exactly what it is. It's like really reconnecting the women back in through all those tools. Because I just think about my own journey, and there's so many layers, like with my own story, and which is how stories go. So
please, yeah, if you feel comfortable just relating to kind of how your clients may relate to you and understand how you can help them. Do you find that, and I love the name of it, We Know the Way, because you had to navigate that yourself from the sounds of it.
That's it. That's exactly it.
What is the largest, I mean, I'm sure there's many, but when you do connect, and it does sound like you feel that your clients are divinely led to you, which I believe as well with my clients and kind of with the world, if you are acting consciously. What do you find that these clients that come to you is the first thing that kind of mirrors you back to yourself, and you say, oh, I can help this person because I've been there. I've seen this.
It's usually the self-worth. It's like, it's so common, like people coming in, and a lot of the times you wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't even know if we just had a interaction on a physical layer. but it's when we start to go deeper, and it's like, oh, and especially the work with the ancestral healing. And it's like when we do it, it's like, oh, like you've had these blocks in your ancestral lines and it's coming down to you. No wonder you're feeling like this, or no wonder, this is happening, and clearing that, but also in their ancestral lines to bring down the blessings, and it's like, bring down the blessings, like, hey, these things, these are the blessings that are open to you down your lines as well. And, that opening up for someone, it's amazing. It's amazing to see. And just, connecting in with your ancestors through that work, you start to unveil those unique ways you're supported.
Yes.
And that's the game changer, because it means, you can walk into situations as like, my tupuna have my back, I'm here, and this is how I can step forward. And it's amazing. And the way it manifests is in so many ways. Sometimes it's, it's shifting some of the trauma that's been sitting in there from the lines that have been passed down.
Yes.
And then how it's manifesting in their own life and shifting that.
Do you have an example of that? Because I think this is such important work that you're doing. And is there, not names or anything, but in an idea of what that would be that was passed down to somebody through their line, and now it's affecting their self-worth and affecting their life? What is, but maybe they didn't know that, and they thought it was all them and something that they could never change.
I've had situations where the issue of having babies is being passed down.
Wow, yes.
It's been passed down the lines, and how it got to that point wasn't very nice down the ancestral lines. It was just like, oh, this some nasty stuff here. Let's, we need to clear that, because it was actually manifesting, in clients' lives. And that's the thing. It wasn't just one. I was actually seeing, there was like multiple, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, just that happening.
Wow. So that was a real theme in your sessions you found.
It was a real theme, and I was just like, wow, and just sitting with that.
That's not really something we hear about in the fertility world.
That's exactly it. And that's why I'm just like, when I think back to how I got here, I was just like, okay, you're leading me up to this, because fertility is not, or I cannot physiologically just get pregnant. It really isn't. It's like, it's so much more. And I won't talk too much about this client's session because it's another lady, but there was literally an earthquake before she turned up. And I was like...
Oh, like in your real life? Like
in real life.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I was like, oh, this is going to be a big session, because it was such a big shift. And for that person, like, the shifts that were happening were huge. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I actually had to sit back and go, oh my gosh, like, and sit with it and actually ground down, because it was such a big shift for that person. But it's also, in all of that work, it's also having, I guess it's a ritual, as I don't know what to call it exactly, but it's having, okay, if you've gone through some trauma, having that ritual to release that trauma from your being as well. And the thing is, they're an active part of that. It's not me doing the work. It's literally, they actually have to go and make the choice. Because I have been in sessions where it's, and we're going through and we're doing something in the session, and it's like, nah, they're not ready to release yet, and I have to pull back. And sometimes it's really, I had to learn to deal with that, because I'm like, oh man, and it's like, they're not ready yet, and it's like, okay, and that's literally their body saying, we're not ready yet.
Yeah, it's not the time.
That's it. It's not the time. So it's pulling back and going, okay, and when they're ready, and then they may come back in 2 months' time, and then and you go back to the same spot, and it's just, they're ready to let it go.
Oh, yes.
And create those shifts. So, yeah.
And that is the integrity that I can see that you have in your work, because it's not about us. And we have to listen and know that it's all about what the client needs and what they are going through. Even if we feel like, oh, that's the energy, I know how to do this. And it's not about that. But I really relate to that.
That's it. Definitely. That's it. Yeah.
You spoke about so many modalities that you bring into your practice. That's amazing. Which one did you start first?
So actually, I started with massage. I didn't even mention that in my modalities. I started off in massaging.
Oh wow!
And that's why I was just like, and I was like, oh, and it's just like, because there is, all the chapters in my story, but it's just like I started off massaging, and just like the deeper I went into the work, and I was like, no, you don't just have a sore shoulder. It's like, it's not just a sore shoulder. There's so much more to this, and it was actually one of my teachers. I was having a conversation with her, one of my massage teachers, and she was talking to me about Reiki, and we're having a conversation. I was like, oh, I had no idea what Reiki was then.
Wow.
And so the next time I was in Sydney, I was like, okay, I'm going to book myself in for a session, see what happens, how I feel about this. I did, and I loved it, and I was like, this is amazing. And then, now.
And it all opened up.
That's it. And I kind of see Reiki as like the light switch to my deeper work.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about the Reiki is like, in the multi-healing, we work with blocks and we work with blessings and support. But there is times when it's not unicorns and fairies, and it can be heavy as you're shifting.
That's right.
And the beauty of it is like, we can do that and we can shift. And then we can bring in just that pure love of Reiki.
Yes.
Just to, so you can just like, oh,
the support.
Okay, that's it for the support. That's what I really love. I think Reiki also led me down the rabbit hole, and I was just like, wow. I was just like, and I had someone come up to me and they're talking to me about Reiki because they're interested, and I'm like, I'm just going to let you know, it's beautiful. Just prepare yourself, because once you open up, you are literally going to go down the rabbit hole, because it's just like,
it's true.
Things, open up, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
Universal energy is no joke. It's not simple.
That's right.
I mean, it's very simple, but it just shifts your whole view.
Yeah.
That's what I find. And that is, it's get ready for a complete flip in your full perspective, and it's going to be amazing. But it's not going to be easy.
That's exactly it. I can sort of see a commercial.
Well, it's hard to describe. I love, I have my master's level. I love Reiki so much. I love teaching it. And I'm always thinking about how to describe it, always. And just what you said, the only thing that ever feels true is that it is love, where it's that supportive energy that we are made of too.
Yeah.
So of course it's love, but it is definitely, because it is so much in the mainstream now, much more than I had a treatment about 20 years ago was the first time.
Wow.
And then, so when I was 18, 21 years now, and just had a birthday. But very grateful for the birthday. And then it took me like 17, 16 years for it to come back to me, really, when I was ready for it. And then I followed down the rabbit hole, exactly like you said. And there it was.
It comes back to the breadcrumbs, as well. It's just completely. Like, okay, here's your breadcrumbs. And then, when you're ready, that's it. It's amazing.
But I'm so interested, when you went into massage, were you working another job, or were you looking in a different career, and were you feeling called to massage, or was it massage first?
When I was younger and in Sydney, I had considered doing a massage course, but that fear I've always been big, I've always been fat. Then that fear of like, I'm going to have to get in front of my classmates and be naked, and they're going to make fun of me, and I'm just not up for that right now. So I was just like, no. And I didn't do it. And when I actually when I first landed on Niue, it was like I got there, and I still remember I was standing on the green in Avasele, and I was talking to my partner then, and I was like, Niue needs a day spa. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna open one. That was when I landed. It took me 10 years to get my act together. But the thing is, I didn't know I was going to be the practitioner. I really didn't then. I was like, I'm going to open one. And, and then I just things just sort of happened. And then actually, some of my friends are from the Philippines, and I was in the Philippines with them. There was some major upheaval in my life, and I went with them. I met someone, and we're in a spa, and I was just like, we had a conversation. I was like, hey, I can do the massage. Yeah. And then I went back, and then it was about 3 months later, I woke up and I literally went, stuff this, I'm going to learn massage. And that's what happened. And that's how I went into it. And
wow, so it almost sounds like you saw the vision of exactly what you wanted to do, and then you kind of worked backwards.
Yeah, which is how I work, actually.
I love that. It's very Sagittarius from what I know about Sagittarius. Like, just shoot the arrow. And then
that's it. And, I think the attitude sometimes, like, it's given my parents heart attack, and they've always been really supportive of me. They're like, whatever you do, just as long as it makes you happy, and I'm like, yes, sweet. And then there's been times it's like, so mum and dad, I've got this idea. And they're like, oh my gosh, what is it now? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, okay. Then have you thought about this? And I'm like, yep. I'm like, don't worry, I'm gonna land. It's gonna be okay. And 9 times out of 10, I've landed like Olympic gold when I've landed.
That's right, because you trusted it.
That's exactly it. And so it was just it was amazing how it all panned out. And I called myself a spa, but it's actually something I'm looking into changing, because it's like,
well, it sounds like much more than a traditional spa. That's for
sure. And
that's
the thing. That's the thing. And I have a sign on my actual brick and mortar side of the business in Niue, and it says Reconnection Sanctuary. And I'm like,
that's lovely.
That's what it is. It's just like, and so it's just looking back at how it all came about. And because that teacher who I spoke to Reiki about, she was one of my teachers for massage, and then she came over to Niue, and and it's just like, just how it opened up. And
wow. And how long has the spa been open?
So I was just doing mobile. So I've been in business for like 6 years, but the actual brick and mortar, like actually having actual place, has only been open for, it'll be 2 years actually in July.
Wow.
So just gone. So it was 2 years in July. So thank you. I didn't even so it was 2 years in July. But prior to that, I was just taking my table and going to the resort, going to people's houses, going around and doing that until there was enough to put up it's a little building, really. It's a little hideaway. So
that's really amazing. Not very many people take that leap and are able to do it. And that is so inspiring. That's amazing. Wow.
I think about that sometimes.
2 years is a long time.
It is to have a building, and I'm just like, when I saw the frame of that building going up, I really sat in and going, and I really sat with myself and going, Lan, you've come such a long way. And I've had a lot of support, like, you never do anything on your own.
That's right.
And I was just like, just seeing that frame, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I remember when it was finished and standing inside and going, oh my gosh. And just seeing how it's evolving as well, now. And it's just like, I just sitting with that, it still amazes me. And I'm still, so grateful for it. And
oh, it sounds like the possibilities are endless for what you can do with that. Wow.
And because, Mary, that's it. That's life, eh? The possibilities are endless. Yes, and just keeping open to that, you really have to. And sometimes I get myself into trouble because, I'll be talking to someone and I can see lots of things happen. I was like, imagine the possibility they could do with that, I'm like, and I start just going off like jabberjaws going, hey, you can do this and that and that and that and that. And they're like, some people just look at me going, can you just like slow down and leave me alone? And I'm like, and so I've had to learn to step back sometimes and go, you can remind them their possibilities are endless, and you can throw in saying, maybe there's an idea there. You can develop your idea, And then whatever they do with that, I have to step back. And sometimes it's really hard because you can see the bigger vision. It's like, oh my gosh, that would be so amazing if they set that up. The world needs this. The world needs you,
Completely.
Like,
but you have because of you and your spirit, the action to take. But for others, it might just not be in their path that time.
And that's it. That's it. That's so true. Yeah.
I can imagine a lot of clients would really find that quite valuable. So that is also part of your toolbox. So if somebody needs some guidance in that way, if they need some ideas.
Yeah, just to support, it's just like, I'll support you. I'll be your cheerleader.
I love that. Oh, well, your work, it sounds so beautiful and really aligned with what I try to do as well and how I like to serve my clients and what I'm trying to do. So I just feel that the world needs it so much, and how you're doing it and how it came to be is such a beautiful story. So thank you for sharing it. Oh, it's just amazing.
Thank you.
And while you're using that unreal intuition that you have, when was a time that you followed your intuition? And I know that we've spoken about a few already, but when you really followed it to something beautiful before it made any sense, and that you can look back on now and you can see how your intuition led you. But at the time you were really not trusting it, only trusting it enough to follow it.
I think it was that decision to go to Niue. That was because that was a life-changing moment for me. I was 24, and like sometimes when I look back, I was like, "You were 24," like, because looking back now, I'm 41. It's like, oh, you knew nothing then. I'm still learning. I'm just learning now.
Our brain is only developed when we're 25, right? Like that is, it's young.
That's it. And it's just like, and I'd never been to Niue. I'd barely seen any pictures, nothing like that. That was not the time of the internet. So, and it's just like, it was just really like, the intuition came. It's just like, let's go, one-way ticket, because you know what, you're going to love it there. And then doing that, it's like, I didn't know anyone. I went with my partner then, but in terms of family, I hadn't met the extended family except for one person there, my dad's cousin. We'd been to his house, but just going, it's time to go to Niue. You're going to love it. One-way ticket, you'll be fine. And it's like almost, even now I feel like taking a deep breath and going, okay.
It's that nausea of the leap.
That's it, because I didn't know, because, my dad used to tease me. He's like, you're going to have bucket baths and, you're going to have this. And I'm like, because, you
right, where they have nothing. You're going to be living in, you like television, say goodbye to it.
That's right. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm like, yeah, but also knowing I'm fine with that, because like I don't, I'm not a fancy person, and that's fine for everyone that is. It's just like I don't need much, but I was just like, yeah, I'm going to be sweet with that. I think the only thing I did struggle with was the lack of chocolate. Then I was like, I rang.
Oh, there's no chocolate. They don't
back
make
then. There
chocolate traditionally, right? Because where do you get cocoa? Where do you even get the cocoa seed? Oh my goodness.
That's the thing. So it was like back then, and I was just like, there would be chocolate sometimes, and the quality would be really bad and be really old, and I'd be like, oh, and maybe every 3 months my parents might send me up a packet of Freddo Frogs or something. Wow. And I was like, yes, and that was the thing. But now the chocolate selection is amazing in Niue, and like things have changed so much.
But you remember, that would have been been a very big memory for me as well. Chocolate is pretty important to me. So I really understand that.
And that's the thing. And there was already coffee, because like, I love coffee as well. It happened to be my dad's cousin who also took me in when I landed. He had the only coffee machine on the island in a cafe. And I was like,
really?
Oh, yeah. So that,
and can you let us know, just for the listeners too, when you were 24 and landed in Niue, what was the population?
So the population, it's still pretty much the same. It's about 1,600 people.
1,600. Okay.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
it is.
So
I'm sure everybody was kind of thinking of that it's small, but it's 1,600 people. That
yeah.
is from Sydney.
Yes. It's from Sydney.
So this is a leap. And then to family that you hadn't even met.
And that's the thing. And there's 1,600 people on Niue. In the wider world, there's about 20,000 Niueans now. But on the island, there's 1,600 people. But the nature of the Pacific and the nature of Niue, and it's that sharing in the community, that's what made everything so easy. And I still remember as well, my dad's uncle, like I was staying down in his house. I was in my cousin's house. And, at the time I was just like this old man. No, sorry, I was out and my cousin's like, oh, Uncle Tasso dropped off some food for you. And it was a big coconut basket of food. We call it umu, so it's cooked in the underground. Umu food for me. I've never met him before in my life, and I tucked into that food and it was so good because it was just like, oh, this is what I love. And it was like a couple of days later and I was driving and I'd seen him at the service station and he was smiling and I still had no idea who he was. I didn't know it was the man who dropped off the food. And then, and then we talked and then, he's one of my greatest protectors and he always checks up on me now, and just, the whole community. I love that community and no one gets left behind, and, of course it's a small place and, like here, any small town has small town issues and it's not endemic to one place. It's just the way it is,
It's people.
That's it. It's people. But, when if the chips are down, the community rallies around you and, everyone looks after you and just make sure you're all right. And it's one of the things I love the most. And it's one of the things that made the transition easier.
Yes, thank you for explaining it even more. Because now in my mind, I see you stepping off the plane, standing in the green, and then basically the island wrapping around you, just giving you hello, Lana. Yeah, welcome back.
That's
even
exactly
though you've never
it.
Been there. Yeah,
that's exactly it. And once and it's the thing in there where it's like, last name, who's your family, and because once you know someone's family, and there were people coming up to me, it's like they would give me the whole thing. It's like, oh, you guys are actually originally from this village, but you're out here and here, and I was just like, and looking back, it makes me smile because it's just like, yeah, man, I'm dealing with that and taking that on at the time. It was just like, it's amazing. And yeah, I really love that actually.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, yeah, just heartwarming. And I'm sure you've heard this many times, but I can't wait to hear the book. Audiobook. I love your voice. I can't wait to read and hear the book and watch the movie because this sounds like a pretty amazing story. And then you're making your spa and it sounds great. That's great. It's like working at the resort, but no, I'm going to have my own. It's like, I love this.
And I actually am writing a book. And
there we go.
Because I was like, just do it, man. Just do it. And, and just taking the steps to do it. And so, and I think everyone needs to hear your story. And that's for everyone listening. Man, share your story in whatever platform, feels good for you. If it's a book, if it's a movie, I just do it. Because there's always someone who needs to hear your story. And I think of all the people's stories I've heard that changed my life. And I'm just like, imagine they didn't put that out.
It's so true. It's so true. And it is the way for us to remember our voice too. Especially if you hear Lana say that and you go, sure, but not me. It is you. Yep. It is. That story, we need to hear it because it sounds like that's how Niue works, where the stories have been passed down. I mean, these stories are important. They're our life. And when we keep them to ourselves, then that's when generic and mediocre and boring, that's when those words come. But as soon as you get past that superficial conversation and you actually get to hear people's story and to speak to them, because that's when you know that you're speaking to someone, when you actually hear about them and not
Yeah.
about what they feel about something.
I was about to say, I hope I hear your story in a book or movie, Mary.
Oh,
So,
I'm like, because when you're saying everybody has, I was like, yeah, but maybe mine is not as interesting. But as you said that, I'm like, no, that's right. There are really interesting points to everybody's life and how you get to where you are. So I
that's
appreciate
exactly
that.
it.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
it.
no, I will continue to focus on telling my story. Thank you for reminding me about that. Okay, well, I'm really interested to hear your opinion on this, but what are two kind of great intuitive lessons that you have learned along the way?
Number one is trust.
Mm-hmm. You can't
You
say it
know,
enough. It's true. It's true.
that's exactly right. You gotta trust yourself and trust what is coming through. You really do. Like I was saying earlier, I had so many times where I was questioning myself, and I was having those whole mini conversations in my head about it, and it's just, and like, it was, the drop downs was just like, just trust us. And so I moved forward, and it was like, yep, okay, it was bullseye.
Yeah.
Trusting that feeling to move to Niue. And number two, it leads on from trust. It's practice. Everything, like
Yes.
everything,
The thing we
you got to
don't want to
practice that
hear.
trust. That's right. That's a thing. And to be where I'm at with trust now, I have to practice. I'm still practicing.
Yeah.
And there's been times I've fallen on my face, and I had to get up and keep practicing that trust. And I think it's just the same with everything in life. Whatever you do, it's just practice. I'm going to add in a third.
Oh, please. Yeah.
Be curious. I always think about these things, like how my curiosities actually led to some really beautiful and defining moments and discoveries in my journey. And
is there one you can think of?
one of them is actually how I met one of my key mentors.
Oh, wow.
And that was like someone I knew who I didn't really interact with, we'd met a long time ago, had shared one of her posts. And it was just a general saying. And I was just like, oh, who's this lady? What do they do? And I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Okay. And then it led me to, like going into a session with her. And then I had a few sessions with her, and then training. And then now she's my mentor. Be curious.
Wow. And that really reminds me too, and a good reminder for all, is that curiosity is so important. And we don't get to follow it if we are distracted by constant scrolling or looking for a way to entertain ourselves instead of recognizing when you are on Google, but with an intention, and you see that curiosity and you follow that intention instead of just, I'm bored and I don't know what to do, or I want to distract myself because I don't like the way I'm feeling. Like, I feel like you were very conscious in that moment to know that, oh, this is interesting. Let me follow this. And that in a kind of sliding doors, you could have maybe been distracted by a notification from your Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
These modern worlds. So much to work through, so much to remember, so much trying to distract us. But what do you think some people get really wrong, in your opinion, when they talk about intuition and spiritual ideas?
I actually think people thinking that intuition is not actually available to themselves. It's available to everyone.
Yes.
So, and it's just about the practice and creating space and building the trust. And it really is, the reason you were just saying why you started your podcast is because the answers are inside. There's a lot of stuff out there, and the wellness industry is worth so much money, and the things that come through my feed, and I'm like, no, like, it just drives me insane. It's just like, because it's almost like the answer is outside of people, and it's like, no, that's not right. It really is that you have your intuition, and everyone has it, and sometimes I think it's just the language that's used. I know even for myself, sometimes I could be told one thing 5 times, and then someone walks in, gives me an analogy, and and it lands, and I'm like, oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
Completely.
So that sort of thing. And it's like, everyone, I'm going to say almost everyone knows trust your gut. But if you was to say to some people, do you have intuition? They'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But they have that thing of like, oh, I trust my gut, and it's just sometimes the language and what lands with people. But just know that everyone has intuition.
It's not something that you have to buy from somebody else, and it's not something that you have to be jealous of that amazing guru has or something. It's like
that's and that's exactly. And sometimes I see some of the things as like, oh, the light codes have been given to me, and I'm like, sometimes it doesn't always sit with me well. I'm like, the light codes have been given to you, just to you. It's like, oh man, those light codes everyone's got those light codes, and it's just like, that's the thing. And it's just knowing that.
Well, that's the groundedness of it. That to me, when you speak like that, that's exactly, and that's what I feel very passionate about, is grounding all of it's all of our magic, but it's not rare. It's what we're made of. It's amazing.
That's right. That's it.
But it's not something that it's given to all of us. We just have to remember it and rediscover it, reconnect to it. But yes,
that's actually, so true.
When you said that, if you do, to listeners, if you do see that, if somebody says, oh, I found it, or I was given this upgrade, or if you feel a jealousy in yourself or a little bit like, I don't know what that means. I feel like that means that's really just a mirror to you to remind yourself to look inside, and that you already have everything that person is telling you that they have and that you need. You don't need it because you already have it. So I hope that helps.
That's it.
Yes. That's I have the same feeling as you when I scroll through. I'm like, oh, that can be an unpopular opinion, but I do. Yeah. Thank you so much for all of this beautiful sharing that you're offering to us and the listeners and to me. I feel so lit up by everything that you've been speaking about. So thank you so much. So what is your personal definition of healing?
So healing is so many things to me. I think it's coming back to my center, making decisions from that place and trusting those decisions. It's making the choice to step into the light. It's connecting in with your ancestors. It's resting. It's letting go of the old stories. It's acknowledging and releasing those limiting beliefs. It's changing and evolving and knowing that it's okay to change. It's creating space for yourself in your own way. And it's moving into a space where you know it's okay to ask for support. It's also eating cake for breakfast and being okay with that.
Yeah.
It's just like, that sort of thing. And it's just, there's so many definitions, and I really encourage everyone just to lean in to what it feels for them, because at the end of the day, that's what really counts. And the one thing I do know for sure about healing is that whatever form it takes, it's our own responsibility. It is not outside of ourselves. And sometimes that can be hard to take. I know I have my own journey.
We all do, yes.
that's it. That's it.
That, yeah.
It's like, and so many things are happening in our lives, and we can create more space to heal. And when we stop, it's like you said, when we stop looking for that external validation, and when we stop looking outside of ourselves for the answers, it's almost like that's when the beauty starts to come in, the beauty of healing. And to remember, we are our own healers. Your healing does really come from yourself, and for anyone that even works, like, I've been in sessions and they're like, thank you, you're my healer. And I'm like, no, like, sometimes I get upset, I'm
Me
just
too.
like,
I'm like, no, you did this. I was holding this for you. We did this together.
That's exactly it. And it's just like, everything that's coming off your body was coming from you. You were choosing what you're ready to release, not me. And
they came to you. They made the decision.
And that's exactly, and that's such a big step. Anytime you make the decision to see someone, you really are taking that step, and that does come from you, and you don't need to be fixed. It's just like, oh, it's just like, you're already whole, you don't need to be fixed, you know. And that's the thing.
It's
And
so hard for people to understand. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
not,
but I feel that that is one thing that people do get not wrong, but misunderstand about healing. That it is a focus back on themselves to see that they are already whole in it, whichever way that comes. But I'm so glad that you said that. There's nothing to be fixed, because it sounds like an oxymoron. It's like, but if I'm healing, aren't I broken? I was like, no, we don't heal cups after we break them.
That's, yeah.
Can't, well, I mean, maybe somebody can, but I can't, I haven't discovered that yet myself. Maybe one day. But we are energetic, beautiful beings, spirit, souls that are whole. And I really appreciate you speaking to that. Yeah, it's so important.
It is really important. It is so important. And however you're showing up in your healing journey, you get to decide what to do with that information. And yeah, I'm just going to say it one last time, because it's so important. You are your own healer. Like,
yes.
Gosh.
Yes. And what Lana and I do, even though a little bit different, we are helping guide you and supporting you, because we need each other. But we are not healing you. We are
That's
helping.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
And you know, that's exactly it, Mary. And sometimes I like to think of it, it's just like, you know, I just found the light switch. It's like, oh, the light's over here, you know, and she's turning on the light switch just so you can see your path clearly, you know. That's exactly it. And the support.
Yeah, and maybe they would have found the light switch, but it may have taken a year in the dark looking for it and feeling the, you know, all the walls and, oh no, it's not there. So it just, you know, expedites it a little bit too. Oh, I love that. And do you feel, and you're speaking about writing a book, and I know you're a beautiful writer, do you feel that intuition and creativity are the same thing?
It's actually a really great question, and my answer is like, why not? Why can't they be the same thing? I think the marriage of my own creativity and intuition, it just takes on so many different forms, and I do use creativity as one of the foundations to help strengthen my intuition. Sometimes it's a conscious decision, sometimes it just happens. So, you know, and it's like, you know, we've been in writing sessions together, and I've started off with just some mumbo jumbo, and it's just like, keep writing, and then by the end of that session I've got the answer to something. I was like, oh, I've found the solution to something I've been wondering about. So, you know,
amazing. Like, oh, that just gave me chills. It's true though. It is. And it's making space for it as well, the way you describe it. Exactly.
And definitely. And I also like just inviting the element of play in the creativity as well, you know, like, and see where it leads from there. And I've been in Canva doing stuff sometimes, and I've just looked at something going, it doesn't feel right. And then I'll go design, and then I've just sort of nailed something. I was like, yes, you know, and it's like, because something didn't feel right. Even in, there was a time in art class in high school, because I do love drawing. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like getting that voice going, just paint the feet purple. And I'm like, oh, well, that's weird. And I listened to it, and those purple feet made the whole painting work. So it's like the marriage. So yeah.
I suppose, I mean, I could probably talk to you forever, but to kind of end on a couple more things, what advice do you have to someone who is awakening to their intuition? I know you've given beautiful insight already, so it's okay if you want to reiterate some of the strong points that you already had. But yeah, do you have any real advice for the person who's awakening to their intuition and connecting to their intuitive gifts?
Coming back to the trust yourself and practice trusting yourself, and don't be afraid to ask your ancestors for support, because they are by your side and they want to see you win. So just ask them for support.
I love that. Do you have any advice, just like is there a simple way that you would offer to someone to start if they've never done that before?
I guess it's almost like a prayer. You could use almost like a prayer, and it's just like, you know, because one of the ways I will do it is actually sit down. Sometimes, ideally, if I can sit outside in nature but it doesn't always have to be. I've been in my room and it's just literally closing my eyes, settling down into your breathing, just settle down. And then when you're ready, ask the question. It's like, I'd like some support with this. Can you help me?
I love that. And then however their intuition speaks to them. So whether it's a little voice in their self, in their inner self, or maybe their imagination offers them a picture of something, to trust that as a guidance and really trust themselves.
And that's it. Or maybe, 2 days time, they meet somebody who has, that sort of thing. So,
Just really keep a very open mind and an open spirit to it. That's what it really sounds like.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. And is there anything that you would like to let us know about that we haven't chatted about yet?
I guess just for people to know that you are enough exactly as you are, like exactly as you are at each moment. Because, so for myself, like I'm a fat practitioner, I'm a fat Niuean practitioner. So I know what it's like to walk into a room and be the only one there like that.
Oh, and our body image is so, for every woman, I don't know one woman that has
that's right,
that doesn't have this issue with themselves. Exactly.
And that's it. And just however you show up, remember you are enough exactly as you are at each moment, and just to really embrace that.
And rewind that and listen to that again, because that is so powerful. Rewind that. Listen to me. Go back 15 seconds.
Cassette players might come back in fashion, you never know.
I think the kids are. I think they are. I think they really want the physical things again. Oh, well, Lana, thank you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and with the listeners of Intuitive Seek. I am lit up selfishly. I just feel amazing listening to you. I feel inspired. And you've really personally just reminded me of so many important things, to remember that we are always in our power and to remember to step into it all the time, every day, because it's so easy to be kind of pulled out of it, especially in the world we're living in. So it's such beautiful, beautiful advice, beautiful experiences. So let us know where your IG and where people can find you. We are the way.
So my Instagram is Maulu Spa. So it's MAULU Spa. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one on there with that name, so it shouldn't be too hard to find.
And I'll put it, wherever you're listening to this, just scroll down under the description and there'll be a little hyperlink that you can click on. So it'll be very easy to find it.
But also, Mary, thank you so much for inviting me on the show. It's also actually an honor for me to be in your presence, in Writing Club, when you're sharing, and it's just, you're so calming, and it's just like, yes. And, your insights, and I'm like, yes. And there's so much that I haven't seen, and you're just sharing that. And I'm like, yes. And and that makes such a difference. So thank you also for sharing your work. It's just, and just sharing your time with me as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that really touched my heart. Thank you. It was such a pleasure. And I can't wait to write with you again and see you again. And thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you so much. I feel very, very, very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. If you have any thoughts or questions, don't hesitate to send me a message through my website, treenlight.com, or through my Instagram at treenlight, TREENLIGHT. I will be opening space for 3 more clients in October, and I always offer a free clarity session to see how I can support you and what our work together would look like. And I'll also leave all those links in the show notes. Hugely appreciated if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you feel called to give some support, then please share this episode with a friend. Or you can also leave a review if you feel called to. Thank you again so much for spending your time with me and with Lana today. Be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you next week.